The CDC has changed the language on its website, which previously said vaccines do not cause autism. The revised language now reads, quote, "The claim vaccines do not cause autism is not an evidence-based claim because studies have not ruled out the possibility that infant vaccines cause autism." The new language says studies supporting a link have been ignored by health authorities. The revision echoes the skepticisms of Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has repeatedly promoted debunked claims about vaccine safety, including a false link to autism. Joining me now is CBS News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. John LaPook. So, Doctor, is there any evidence that there is science behind this new messaging?
Well, I think one of the frustrating things to a lot of us about a change like this is show us your homework. You know, where is the detailed analysis with the research and the references that led you to come to this conclusion? You know, just saying it and changing the website, who made the changes? I mean, were political people? Were there research people? Were there people with medical background, expertise in this? We don't know. So I have to say that this all started, this entire claim that there was a link of vaccines to autism in 1998 with a paper. It covered 12 kids. It was from the British Lancet, which is a very prestigious journal, and said it claimed that there was a link between giving MMR vaccine, measles, mumps, rubella, and autism. Well, investigation declared that that was a fraudulent paper, and it was retracted. The person who was the lead author lost their medical license, but it took 12 years. From 1998 until 2010 before it was retracted. And in that time, this whole anti-vaccine movement and the whole idea that, well, maybe vaccines somehow are linked to autism caught fire. In the meantime, over the last 20 years, there have been dozens of studies, dozens of them, that have not shown a link to, and the consensus, the vast majority of the organizations, the consensus of the scientific community is that there is no evidence of a link between autism and vaccines.
What is your advice then to parents?
You know, I think it's very tough right now because you've got one thing coming from the CDC, and then you have another thing, different advice coming from places like the American Academy of Pediatrics, ACOG, the Academy of, American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, the American College of Physicians. So it's very tough. I think we always say it, go to your doctor and see what your doctor says and get the advice from there. But of course, the doctor may have a tough time looking over all of the evidence. I mean, I have to say there's frustration here, right? Because if you're a parent, you have a kid who has autism, and you think, well, maybe I did it to them by giving them a vaccine. I mean, first of all, you feel guilty over that. But also, if it turns out there's no link, I mean, as the evidence seems to show, they haven't been able to find it. It's hard to prove a negative to show that there's no link, but there's lots of evidence that there hasn't shown that there's a link. For the last 20 years or more, think of the diversion there. And I've spoken to scientists who said, my gosh, all the research we could have been doing into what actually is causing autism, not to mention money spent towards early diagnosis, early treatment. So it's very frustrating to a lot of people in the scientific and the community that's dealing with autism on a daily basis to say, okay, are we really going to be spending more time researching this? Now, one good note is that HHS has said they're going to put, I think it was $50 million into new research, into looking for causes of autism, and I think that's great research that needs to be done. But the vast consensus from people I've spoken to is this was a big diversion. Of course, once the question was raised, people had to do those studies. Dozens of them have not shown a link.
Dr. John LaPook, thank you.